Welcome back to another glorious episode of Rounds of the Knight's Table. I am the tallest host on this channel, Jim.
And I am Eric.
Today we're here to talk about those blazing non-Caucasians. Of course, we're talking about Crazy Rich Asians. This film is about Rachel Chu, who is so ingrained in American culture that she doesn't even know who her super internationally famous boyfriend Nick Young is. Nick brings Rachel home to Singapore for his best friend's wedding, of course to meet Mommy Dearest. This is where she finds out that they're balling out of control. That's when she starts to feel like an outsider and has to compete with some jealous ass bitches while getting help from the people you fully expected her to get help from. All the while trying to win Nick's mother's approval. Norman Bates said it best, a boy's best friend is his mother. I thought the aesthetic of this film was rather nice.
You know, the wide out landscape views of Singapore were really nice.
Including that one building that they showed 15 times. I liked the feeling that I got from this film. You know, that it's not a culture or race that's necessarily portrayed in mainstream media. That you get a taste of a little different. Not so vanilla.
Yeah, there's finally a movie like this for, you know, the Asian culture. They don't get a whole lot of representation, and this film is a good step towards that.
I really love the selection of music in this.
Yeah, I love that they changed the dialect for all the words.
That wedding moment, though. The visual of the wedding and the feel of the wedding, man, it was really sincere. Not their wedding, because they don't get married in this movie. For the best friend's wedding, it was just something, that moment, you know, of her and him, it was just like, it felt like true love.
For me, someone who's not used to all that over-the-top rich type stuff.
Because we crazy broke white boys.
You have, you know, the water coming in as the bride comes in, which I think was a really nice touch. You got all these huge, like, garden columns, this live band who...
We'll talk about that with the bed.
It was just a whole lot going on. You know, I'm a little cheap. You know?
So you're saying courthouse for you, and that's it.
I mean, if it was that big of a day, no. Probably not the courthouse. Maybe, you know.
Courthouse and Waffle House.
I might, you know, splurge a little, go to Huddle House.
Oh, fancy. I thought that the ending of this movie was really good. Rachel and the mom having a showdown of mahjong. The mother giving Rachel her ring. Yeah. I mean, if you were going to have the happy ending, because Nick did propose to her and she turned him down because it was a lose-lose for her, because... You know, he would resent his mother. With her, the mother giving the ring, it really just signified she earned his son, but more importantly, she earned her trust.
Not just her trust, but some of her respect.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess getting your ass whipped in mahjong.
And I do kind of like how
humble you for sure.
I like how they finally brought it back to her, you know, playing mahjong, because in the first bit of the film, you see her in her class teaching, and she's playing poker, showing her economics class, you know, how bluffing is done. Thought it was really nice how they brought it back to that against the mother, who's like the mother of all bluffers.
Let's talk about the bad of this movie. I thought that this film was a smidge disappointing. I kept waiting for it to hit its stride, and it never got to that point with me. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I kept waiting for it to hit like that real golden moment, so to speak. I just felt like we never got it. And I don't know if that's because we had a bunch of... John Chu, the director of this movie. Maybe if it was edited differently, I'd feel this way, but I felt like a lot of the comedy, even though it wasn't over-the-top funny, there was still room in there, and the funnier moments I thought were lost on some longer-held shots that could have been cut.
You felt like you were about to get that laugh out loud moment, and then it just kind of died away.
I felt like it could have been a little more cheeky, a little more Devil Wears Prada. I felt that there should have been a little more tension between the mother and Rachel, but there wasn't like a good back and forth. I thought also the side stories that were going on in this movie. Nick's rich cousin married a commoner.
He just feels like he's not enough.
Yeah, and
that he'll never measure up.
And so she has to hide like her buying stuff and all that. And it got really in depth with that. Maybe it works in the book. I felt like they could have lessened it here. I didn't need all that side story. I felt like it took away from the main story. I thought Awkwafina was a little flat.
Kim Jong. I didn't much like his role in this. He was like the perv dad. He usually gets all the raunchy comedic roles, but this just seemed
out of place. What other bits do you got, Eric?
The wedding. You get all this nice, good, modern music throughout the movie, but done in like Mandarin. Then you get to the wedding, and they've got this band there, live band playing, and they're singing in English.
They're singing "Fools Rush In." Nice song.
It was a really good song for the wedding.
Nicely performed, but it felt wrong for the movie.
It felt right for the movie if they hadn't done it in English. You didn't get much backstory with the best friend, so you don't really know anything about him.
But you got more
more backstory from Astrid.
My final thought. I think that this film should serve as a pillar in this industry. And again, it's not without its flaws. It's not a perfect film. It's not even my most favorite film that we've seen all year. But much like Black Panther, much like Moonlight, these movies are important. These movies help you to see things not just from a white person's perspective, but you're able to give someone else a voice, and you're able to see what someone else's culture or someone else's story is about. And if you didn't know that that was a viable option in the 90s, even just women who are still fighting for equality with that too. Thelma and Louise was a smash hit, and that was, two female lead characters. I think that it's important to create that kind of diversity. You'll still have a good time.
Oh yes, it was a enjoyable movie.
And you'll still want to fly out to Singapore and eat all the food. But again, if you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. You're in the minority if you haven't seen it. I'd score this movie an 8.0 out of 10.
Just like you, I really enjoyed it. It had some feelsy moments. They had some comedic moments.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not like there wasn't any comedy. I'd score it about an 8.3. I'd probably watch it again.
Definitely watch it again. Definitely go check it out. Definitely hit those likes. Hit those subscribes. And we will check you out next time on Rounds of the Knight's Table. Sorry. I'm gonna go get my notes. We're good. I'll get that. We're good.
We are so not good.